about the Pravasi Odia Vikash Samiti in association with GRC India, the BRIC Chamber of Commerce of India, Policy Times, and Pravasi Indians. Today, we are in the web series, second webinar of the national web series, that is the development of Odisha, self-reliant India. पूर्वोदय से सूर्योदय, पूर्वोदय से राष्ट्रोदय. This is the concept, and today we have the son of the soil, Sri Sanjeev Padjoshi. He is a brilliant student of Odisha. He is from IIT, NIT, and he has a lot of laurels. He is the Indian Police Service Officer of 1991 batch, and today he is in Director General position, but having the Chairman and Managing Director in Civil Supplies Department of Government of Kerala. Formerly, he was in Delhi as Joint Secretary in Panchayat Raj Department, Government of India. The detailed introduction will be provided by our colleague. And we have another speaker, Mr. Hiranmaya Mahanto. He is in Gujarat as Startup and Innovation Hub CEO, Chief Executive Officer of that. We'll hear to him in this program. I welcome all the guests, all the friends and well-wishers and the members who are joining, and the people who have joined and registered will get the e-certificate. So please register yourself so you will get the certificate. Now I request our colleague, our Vice President, Mr. Sudhir Barik. He is a cost accountant and management professional. He is the CFO of Crimea Agro Limited, the Crimea biscuit we are seeing, Crimea Agro Limited, and he will introduce the guest now. I request Mr. Sudhir Barik, Vice President of POVS. Thank you. Over to Mr. Sudhir Barik. Sudhir bhai. Sudhir bhai.
Thank you. Thank you, Surya bhai. Jai Jagannath. I extend my gratitude to one and all present over here. Today's webinar is organized by Pravasi Odia Vikash Samiti, POVS, in association with GRC India, BRICS-CCI, Pravasi Indians, and the Policy Times. It is a national webinar on the development of Odisha, self-reliant India. It's an honor to introduce our speaker for 2 nights. First of us is Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Padjoshi, IPS. He is DG, Chairman and Managing Director of Food and Supplies Department, Government of Kerala. Previously, he was Joint Secretary and Director of National Institute of Cooperative Management, Director of SARC International Center of Agricultural Banking, Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, IG of Road Safety, Traffic Management and Protection, IG of State Human Rights Commission, He was communication officer of United Nations Mission in Kosovo, Europe Academy. He has a flourishing academic PhD in economics, MBA from IIM Bangalore, postgraduate degree in sustainable development from TERI University, New Delhi, MTech from IIT Kanpur, BTech from NIT Nagpur. He won many awards awarded by President of India for meritorious services in 2016, Distinguished Alumni Award in 2019 from NIT Nagpur, United Nations Medal in 2001, Best Director Award from Competition Success Review in 2015 and 16. Here I request Mr. Sanjeev Kumar Patjoshi kindly grace the event. Over to you, sir.
नमस्कार बहुत शुभ संध्या जोटा आज माननीय मिस्टर हिरणमय महंत अच्छा मिस्टर सूर्य अच्छा बाकी आमर ओडिशार भाई भौणी मैंने डेफिनेटली ये पार्टिसिपेट करुवे एंड इटा गोटे आत्मनिर्भर ओडिशा आत्मसम्मान ओडिशा आत्मनिर्भर मात्र कहबिनी आमर ओडिशार आत्मसम्मान आत्मगौरव आत्म गोटे डेवलपमेंट एजेंडा आम ओडिशा रहा कथा ओडिशा प्रगति करुच्ची नो डाउट ऑन दैट कहीं क्रोनोलॉजिकली फ्रॉम राइट फ्रॉम इंडिपेंडेंस नाइट फ्रॉम गोटे ओडिशा गोटे गर्व विषय कि 1936 रे आम फर्स्ट एप्रिल फर्स्ट लिंग्विस्टिक स्टेट हेलु जोटा ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट देइथिला हमको इज ए रिवार्ड मे बी सम पॉलिटिकल रीजन इज डिफरेंट आई विल नॉट मेंशन हियर there were different reasons for that but anyway we got quite a linguistic state degree Odisha form itla Odisha bhasha ame really could retain that there was a real onslaught on Odia language by other neighboring state people and
Sanjeev ji, one second.
Yeah.
Many non-Odias are there actually. Self-reliant areas.
Okay. Then okay, fine. Thank you for reminding. I'll go both English and Hindi. I'll do so that both will.
Okay. English is better because all this thing will be transcripted and will come to Government of India or Government of Odisha. So.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So one really wonderful warm greetings to you all. Again, I repeat that Odisha really very place of pride in our history of India itself. One of the first state to be formed in 1936, 1st April. As one of the linguistic state, it was awarded by British government that time. Regions were something different, but I will not mention here. And Odisha pride, Odisha Atmanirbhar, Odisha self-respect, and Odia even there is a Utkal Janani, there is a famous song, and we all recite in every program, and we have got our own Odia anthem for that. But after that, a lot of progress. We have got very stable government in Odisha last 20-25 years. And earlier also, many you might have heard there was a I think campaign that 1,000 industry in 1,000 days. Whether it happened or not, that's a debatable winded. But a lot of like for Masudan Das or those earlier even Biju Patnaik also that really struggled to make Odisha as an industrial state, manufacturing hub. Even later on, service industry also hub. There is a lot of progress is there. But primarily, Odisha has been agriculture economy. There's no doubt that. But now large people are dependent on the agriculture of paddy. Maybe sugar cane sometime was there, but now it is not there much. And wheat is very less because we don't have that from winter to cultivate. But apart from, we have got very big industries, steel plant, Rourkela steel plant. We have got a lot of mining, iron ore mining, coal mining, even the power plants, a lot of iron ore processing plants. Sometimes sponge iron plants were there. There was a mini cement plant were there, if you remember, that got closed after some time, of course. We have got many industries, like we have got aluminum smelting unit, largest in Asia. Anugul, Nalco is one of the biggest public sector in India now. I think Maharatna in category. So they are spread over. We have got the ports also, Paradip port and now Bhamra port. Many ports are also coming up, seaports. We have got good railway links within state. Quite, I think, 3 divisions now, 2 divisions, railway divisions. One railway zone is there, that is southwest zone. And quite a number of industrial hub manufacturing resources. But still, and there was also one issue of that Vedanta alumina plant in Kalandi type that got closed because of the tribal agitation. Those issues are there. Even POSCO was wanting to come, but because of land acquisition and the coastal area, it could not happen. And all of us know Nilachal Steel plant, many other industrial hubs are there. But I'll do, this is all good points of Odisha, but we have to analyze critically also. And at the same time, the poverty index, the Gini coefficient, that is called inequality among the population, is quite high. I mean, very rich people also there, and at the same very poor, abject poverty also there. That's what malnutrition among children, women, and especially the tribal people also, quite large proportion of tribal people are deprived now. Right from health, education, and the food, nutrition, whatever you can call. Even in a human development index, because long back during my MBA IM time, I had calculated the human index of Odi Bhuya and Bhuya, two tribal in Sundargarh areas, Western Odisha. I found 30 years ago, what is the human index that is same in now, hardly any development or hardly increase their HDI. HDI counts the education, then income, and the life expectancy. That is the World Bank standard for human development index, and compared to Odisha, other states have progressed quite a lot. And these are all negative points also we must have. And you, some time back, Odisha was very notoriously known for the hunger deaths, Kalahandi area, all those things. Now things have changed quite a lot. And Odisha also claims to be a very disaster prone, but we have really achieved great, skill to save lives during a lot of disaster cyclones, many other things. Every year we are having 2-3 cyclones, but still we are able to cope up with them. A lot of destruction come, property destruction come through the cyclones. That's one of the many locational disadvantages sometimes. But locational advantage also there. I mean, we have got plenty sufficient rain, hardly any drought in Odisha. Very rarely we get them. Secondly, we have a lot of rivers, lot of dams. So irrigation is quite good compared to other states, compared to Rajasthan or any other states which are currently low rainfall. And we have got good green cover also. Forest also very good, and we have got a lot of tourism potential by that lake. But we have to exploit. Silica is one lake which has got large potential of tourism, but still we are not able to develop that. Recently, some tourist hubs have been developed, and we are trying to do that. Now I'll come to the how to further do things. First, my point will be we have to increase the minimum wage among the labor class in Odisha. I have seen other states, others say ranging now 500 to 600. Odisha is still languishing with 3 to 400. We must act, because this is the reason why I argue that the Prala, CK Prala, there is a theory, the opportunity at the bottom of pyramid. So most of the population at the bottom of pyramid, we only look for the fix, and it is not sufficient. By increasing the minimum wage, there will be overall per capita income will be higher. You see, somebody is getting 300, he gets 10,000 rupees per month, and some 600 it goes to increase. It will be almost 18,000. So per capita will go high, and it has got a lot of purchasing power among the major larger population, the labor class and village people. That will cascade the economy. You know, when purchasing power comes into people's hands, so it has got a very positive cascading development effect and cascading economic effect. Everybody knows that money multiplier concept is there. Initially, there will be some clamor or some opposition from industry, but after that it will equilibrium. I have seen other states like Kerala. Initially, a lot of people say labor cost is very high, but now all public sector, government sector, private sector, they have already reached equilibrium, and they pay these high wages. And I have seen the class standard of labor class has gone up quite substantially, because the 4-5,000 is per month is quite a big leapfrog for them, and they can do many things for their children education, for their children nutrition, or maybe some other their I can say consumer goods, all those things they can purchase. Now low wage they only do the food items, and maximum medicine. Beyond that they can't do anything. So these are all economic impact. Secondly, we have got an economic scope in the agriculture, I understand. We have got economic scope in the mining, and we have got economic scope in certain tourism potential. I think tourism we have not exploited at all. Only this, whatever the promotion is a minuscule. It is nothing compared to other states. Nothing, almost zero compared to other states. We must promote that very vigorously. We have to develop infrastructure. At such state around Chilika, there is a very big hub it can be done. It can be done tourist hub, film shooting. I have been in the film development corporation mandate some time back. I tried a lot of times for Chilika, the hub, the film shooting and tourism potential hotels, restaurant, all the things, it will go very big way, but somehow it has not happened. I think we can do that. So secondly, the agriculture. Now I understand we are surplus in paddy. Odisha is surplus in paddy, and we have to find out export from Odisha to other states. Now I think Odisha, some people are trying to export to the southern state because most of the rice eating population they're starting doing that. But it has not become very big like Punjab. Yeah, the basmati rice exported all abroad now. The rice from Punjab, domestic consumption is fine, but they are benefiting from the export very highly from the basmati cultivation, and the farmers are rich now, apart from the wheat and all thing. But Odisha, somehow the paddy, we are not good export and we are really surplus, and we must try to do a different way. Thirdly, I understand the Odisha has a potential. I mean, all Odia outside Odisha must try to have build a house in Odisha. This argument I give because I have seen in Kerala, all non-Keralite outside India or even outside Kerala, they come and build a house in their home. I have seen that. That's one of the somehow developed a culture. So it has developed long real estate impact in Kerala. So similarly, we all invest in Bangalore, Pune, Delhi, and we forget that our own Odisha, I think we should build a house. It will have a lot of cascading economy because house building per se is not that. You have a cement demand, iron demand, plus labor demand, bricks demand, and accordingly our internal the real estate will grow up, and definitely all of us, some of us may have a house and flats in Bhubaneswar, but we don't go to our village and do that. But in other states, I have seen quite a number of people build houses in their villages, and automatically village become model for other people to start that thing. And you must like I'll just example. One time I was giving a small talk in Bangalore. I said Odia people are investing almost 10,000 crore in Bangalore or Karnataka. All Odia, because everybody is booking a house of 70 lakhs, 60 lakhs, and there are large number of people settled in Odia people in Bangalore, and they are investing. It comes to 10,000 crore. Similarly, at least if not 10,000 back to Odisha, at least 5,000 crore enough. So obviously, Odisha will have better real estate and a lot of development in rural areas, and especially the so-called non-town area. So this is one of the patriotic syndrome. I think we should have this thing. Let us try that. I think not that you should have palatial house, something. And when all Odia outside Odisha are very well off, I know they are having an income more than I think 5-digit salary every month, and that they can afford it. And okay, it will be like a homestay for them when they go back. And obviously, this is one of the argument I give, and we must start that practice. Secondly, another, we are very modest, very honest, and we are very intelligent compared to other people. We have got a high human capital skill with us because a lot of people are in software industries, in various government services in a good position. We must try to influence other state people to come to Odisha. We must have at least everybody cultivates around 10 to 15 friends. And I have done that because I was in Pune. I really persuaded the Finlex chairman. He came with his family to Puri and he was amazed by the roads. He told that your Odisha roads are very good. I mean, he was criticizing Maharashtra roads. I was amazed to, see from his mouth that Odisha Puri roads and Cuttack Konark roads are excellent. So that type of messaging will go, and obviously tourism will definitely boom in the Odisha. If you bring everybody try to bring, at least successful or not successful, that's a different thing. But we can persuade non-Odias to come to Odisha and spend some time. And that way, even now initially the triangle, the Puri, Konark, Bhubaneswar may be there, or maybe sometimes Chilika can be added, and later on Buddhist circuits or other places can be developed. Like many places are there, we can go for that later on. But these are all we should try. And I suggest that definitely Odisha, one of the potential state, but still we are languishing, and because of the many policy, because of many some practical tackling the problem. And first I will recapitulate on that. The leverage should increase. Because why problem I have seen other states, Odia level are languishing there. They are getting very low wage and they go there because the Odisha wage is low. Had they been higher, they will not migrate to other states. And it is initially there will be clamor. Industry may cry that their cost of input is gone up and they may suffer loss. But it will, I think, reaches equilibrium after 1 or 2 years. Obviously, it will has a positive impact in our many larger population youth, and especially the educated youth. They will be very satisfied and they will not migrate to others and suffer from the maybe humiliation or many other maltreatment. Especially we noticed in that lockdown time, COVID lockdown time, a lot of Odia migrants had to come back with a lot of difficulty. And obviously, I'm not telling that there is geographical mobility is very good for human progress, but that is a higher level, not the rudimentary, very rudimentary. And Odia people are known for plumber activity, even cook activity abroad, outside Odisha, and we should maximize on that. And I hope all intellectuals in this group will definitely debate and try to find very easy solution, because the most complex solution is not able to practice. I think E is equal to MC square, most easiest formula we remember easily. Behind that, lot of complication to derivation, but we should find a easy solution for two complex problem. No point in having complex solution for a complex problem or simple problem. So I really appreciate the initiative, and definitely it is better to think over and brainstorming. Many thinkers should get together, and even Western countries also. You must have seen Boston Group. We should form a Odia group, think tank group, and this is one of the platform I also appreciate, that must be really going forward to Odisha development, and definitely we should try to have a self-respect, Atmanirbhar, and self-pride, and definitely very developed state in Odisha. Thank you very much. Namaskar once again.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjeev. Thank you for taking time from his busy schedule and giving various insights on the topics and how to make the people of Odisha very self-reliant. He has given focus on various points: growth of industrializations, scope of mining improvement, how to improve the per capita income of the people of Odisha. There is a huge make the scope for tourism, make the Odisha as a tourism hub, and there is also pointed out export of agriculture product from Odisha. Also, one very much touching point: build a house in Odisha, because most of the people, Odia intellectual, are they are residing outside India, outside Odisha. They have to be in cultural associated with the culture there. So it is a very good initiative. My proposal he has given. Odisha is a human capital because exports and everywhere their brand drumming is coming outside. They have to be cultural. Thank you, Mr. Sanjeev, for giving the various insights on the how we have to improve our Odisha. Yeah. Now I would like to introduce our next eminent speaker, Sri Hiranmaya Mahanta. He is CEO of Gujarat Startup and Innovative Hub, iHub. He is an entrepreneur. He co-founded Techpedia in college to showcase the innovations across universities in public domain to build a strong innovation culture across youth. Or he was awarded by former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam at IIM Ahmedabad. He is passionate to develop and harness the inclusive innovation of the startup ecosystems, process, institution building, involving youth, academicians, industry, and other sector to create a sustainable innovation driven enterprises. He has been instrumental in convincing and deploying youth-centric startup ecosystems for universities and helping various state governments and universities to shape policy and procedures for the growth of the startup. He is a member of the Global Shaper Community, an initiative of World Economic Forum. At present, he acts as a member of AICTE Startup Policy Implementation Committee at Ministry of Human Resource Development. He has been nominated to contribute a dozen of technology business to start young startups. Hereby, I invite Sri Hiranmaya Mahanta to kindly address the event. Over to you, Mr. Mahanta.
Before Mr. Mahanta, I would just like to request Bijan Abami, Ms. Bijan Abami, to have a few words about the POVS. Ms. Bijan Abami, General Secretary.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Namaskar, Jai Jagannath. Warm namaskar to all our eminent. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Warm namaskar to all our eminent guests and participants. I'm Vijaya Navami myself, General Secretary Pravasi Odia Vikash Samiti is a non-profitable social cultural organization. It was created by some nationalist non-resident Odias who regularly meet and discuss about the state of non-resident Odias and resident Odias and how they will live comfortable life and dignified life and their contribution to the development of the Odisha and the nation as a whole. In the year 2012, it was saved and registered in 2014 in New Delhi. Wide registration number District East Society 14512015. POVS connects the Odiyas, Dishaparas staying beyond the boundaries of Odisha to be tuned the root and assimilate with the heritage, tradition, culture, literature, history, and present day of development. It mobilizes the intent of the people for the development of the Odia Disaparas in the beyond Odisha. Today, POVS is a strong organization with 5,000 or more individuals and family members. This is this is possible due to individuals stepping forward to support different activities with the innovative ideas which when implemented benefits for us. The organization has now spread into major cities in India and abroad now, which operate as a whole social umbrella for the different regions in India and the world. The chapters arrange various activities such as religious festivals, social get-togethers, cultural events, cultural events, and participates in cultural life of local communities as representative of Odia culture. Besides this annual Pana Sankranti, our annual day of Pravasi Odia Vikas Samiti, and it's also known as Odia New Year. Odia Nobavarsa is the centerpiece of our organization, and every year we celebrate this day in a very big way. And Pravasi Odia POVS is an organization whose stated goals are to promote the culture of Indian state of Odisha throughout the world, facilitate the development of Pravasi Odisha and Odias and Odisha, and the contribute in progress of the individuals and the state to facilitate the exchange of information between Odisha and the world. One more activity that I want to share with our participants and guests that last week our office bearer along with our patron Mr. Sharma, we felicitate our pride of Odisha all Padma Shri awardees at Asoka Hotel. Without wasting our so much time, I'm conclude my introduction of POVS. Thank you. Over to speaker. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Hiranmay Mahanta, please.
Thank you so much.
It is in YouTube now. People are seeing in YouTube. Thank you. Please, Mr.
Thank you,
Mahanta.
sir. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
But you are not, your face is not there. We want to see your video too.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sudhir ji, Sushant ji, Sanjeev sir has been a great inspiration. Sanjeev sir touched upon very important points. I will pick up two out of them because I'm not as expert as he in all the domains, but two areas are very close to my heart. And that is also very important for Odisha's economy and Odisha's strategic future. One is he talked about mining, and second is also he touched upon human capital. In my presentation, I'm going to talk mining, but not particularly mining metals, but how do we mine mines? So that's why I thought when I was talking to our friends in Pravasi Odisha team, I thought let me talk about how do we mine the minds of mass. And when I mean mass, it is youth, because youth in Odisha has a very, very important role to play in days to come. And how do we really mine them? I mean, we have been known, particularly I belong to Keonjhar in Odisha, and this is a district known for mining. And I have always been thinking that, we have been so successful in mining the metals, but are we equally successful in mining the mines? So that's the idea that we are going to talk today. And one of the important thing that is very, very essential for all of us to understand, that we are not only a country of billion mouths to feed, but also a country of billion minds to innovate. And why I'm saying so, when I'm saying as a country, Odisha represents a significant part of social, cultural, and economic contribution in the national growth. So जब हम देश की 130 करोड़ लोगों को खाने देने की या उनकी जरूरत को पूरा करने की चैलेंजेस के बारे में बात करते हैं, तो ये भी एक इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर हमें भूल नहीं जाना चाहिए कि वो सिर्फ नीडी नहीं है, वो क्रिएटर भी है, वो कंट्रीब्यूट भी कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज दे आर ऑल्सो ए पार्ट ऑफ ए ह्यूज ह्यूमन कैपिटल. एंड पर्टिकुलरली जो यूथ है, जो यूनिवर्सिटी सिस्टम से आता है या जो जॉब मार्केट में जा रहा है, वो उस ह्यूमन डिविडेंड का, वो डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड का बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा है. So one of the very interesting thing that how do we look Odisha's youth is, are we looking them only at mouths to feed, or are you also looking them minds to innovate? So this is one important thing which triggers me when I talk about how do we mind the minds. Globally, if you look at the history of nations, how they have evolved, all national economies has gone through these 4 stages. First of all, we started from Kheti-badi or agrarian economy. Then we start saving. Then we start building infrastructure. We move towards manufacturing economy. Then we become little resourceful and understands how the technological evolutions are happening. We become an information and communication technology economy, or that's ICT economy. And slowly we evolve into a knowledge economy. But when the nations evolve in this entire paradigm, look at Middle East, look at North America, look at Europe, look at even South Asian context, the rate in which every state and every country moves all the 4 layers are very different. There are certain states, there are certain economies, and there are certain states who actually try to jump the other layer by innovating itself and leveraging the capacity of youth, which I indirectly call as mining the minds of youth. Now, the beauty is, if we want to make Odisha known as equally as our art and culture, as an enterprising state, somehow we need to figure out how do we move from entitlement-based approach to an entrepreneurial approach. So what do we mean by entitlement-based approach to entrepreneurial approach is, today, majority of our youth, when they graduate out from different universities, most of our people in the society expect what job they are getting, what salary they are facing, what are the kind of social stigma says that if you get placed into a company where you work for, your social status is quite celebrated. But here is a hypothesis that we are talking about. Can we ensure, can we envisage, क्या हम सोच सकते हैं कि हमारे जो युवाएं हैं, जो नया उड़ीसा के जो युवाएं आ रहे हैं, क्या वो एंटरटेनमेंट बेस्ड अप्रोच में जाना चाहता है या एंटरप्रेन्योरियल अप्रोच में जाना चाहता है? एंड व्हेन आई मीन एंटरप्रेन्योरियल अप्रोच, कैन सम ऑफ देम थिंक ऑफ क्रिएटिंग जॉब्स rather than seeking jobs? Let me tell you what has happened in last 7-8 years as a nation. This has been a phenomenal thing. If you look at 4,000 young people had the audacity to build something of their own in 2015, something called startup. And now in 2022, 62,000 of those young people have built their own enterprises rather than going into jobs. And out of the 62,000 entire teams in the whole nation, around 4,000 come from Odisha. Now we will be really excited if this 4,000 become 12,000 or 15,000. That is one area that we need to really work for. Second thing is, out of 95 unicorn companies that India has produced, the billion-dollar privately held companies, 4 to 5 of them come from Odisha background. Hardly we celebrate that very often, but the first unicorn companies or the startup come out in India with a husband and wife, both are billion-dollar market valued, are from Odisha. Now, this is important anecdote that despite being we are proud of only our agrarian and other factors, we are strongly evolving as a knowledge economy. And these factors really proves that we can play a very vital role. Among the investors, hardly 490 people used to put their savings and risk capital into ideas and innovation. This has gone into 4,640. Now it has become nearly 9x. That means there is hunger both from the idea, both from the youth perspective, and also there is a hunger from the perspective of other investors and other people who are trying to enable the ecosystem. So if you look at the last 7-8 years, this has really pumped up well. But now the question is, will you be complacent at this stage? या हम कुछ ऐसा छलांग लगाए जहां we can be the #1 state both as a very strongly rooted heritage and culture state but simultaneously entrepreneurial state. Now let me tell you what I'm trying to communicate. All the graduates and the youth that has been taught economics and management, this is a very simple thing. The entrepreneurship of yesterday was dhanda mindset. Dhanda is a very typical word in Hindi in colloquial language, where you bring a product or service, sell it to somebody else, and don't challenge the system much and make some money. But honestly speaking, the game has changed. They told about the first husband and wife building $1 billion company hailing from Odisha. They are not looking entrepreneurship as a traditional process. They are not looking entrepreneurship as dhanda. They are looking entrepreneurship in a new way, which we call as startups, as panga mindset. So what do you mean by panga is, the panga says that challenge the status quo. Don't look at the way the society has perceived how you have built things. So I was talking to our friends in Pravasi, Odisha, and they used to say that if somebody has graduated from a brilliant institution in Odisha and try to do something of his own, बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि इसको जॉब नहीं मिला इसलिए शायद कर रहा है, कुछ लोगों को लगता है कि ये कुछ पगला हो गया है इसलिए वो कर रहा है. We have that social stigma in us. We hardly recognize that our youth is now embedded into panga mindset. What do you mean by panga mindset? Panga mindset means you might not have resources at your doorstep, you might not have godfathers with you, but you have a brilliant dream which you want to pursue, and you want to challenge not only social culture, your family issues, your family perceptions, your community perceptions, and also try to do something which is more risk taking than giving you a social security. I will just tell you a small story how I see this panga mindset. This is an email from my email box. It was dated on 18th December 2010. I was operating from Ahmedabad at that time, and a boy writes to me. He says that ki Hiranmay, I am a 11th standard boy belonging to Bargad in Odisha. I have an idea. मेरे पास एक आइडिया है, मेरे पास एक सुझाव है. मैं भी दुनिया बदल सकता हूं, लेकिन मैं एक ऐसी जिला से आता हूं, ऐसी राज्य की ऐसी कोने से आता हूं कि जहां मुझे इतना साधन नहीं मिल रहा है, और मुझे एक समिट में जाना है, मुझे एक कॉन्फ्रेंस में जाना है जहां मैं मेरा आइडिया को बताना चाहता हूं. And the conference was something called TAI Summit, the Indus Entrepreneur Summit in Delhi. It was happening in Hotel Osoka. It's a big place where you have to buy a big ticket to go there. And ये छोटा सा बच्चा 11वीं में वो मुझे लिखता है कि सर 3,821 रुपया का वहां पे रजिस्ट्रेशन फी है. मुझे नहीं लगता कि मेरे पॉकेट में पर्सनली स्पीकिंग आई कैन पे फॉर इट, बट फिर भी मेरा दिल कहता है कि मैं मेरा आइडिया लेके वहां प्रेजेंट करूं. और मैंने सुना कि आप उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ कहीं ना कहीं दूर दूर जानते हैं, तो क्या आप मेरे को वहां पे फ्री एक्सेस दिला सकते हैं. So imagine this was 2010, and 2010 is not very far away. So I thought, okay, young fellow, young boy from Odisha is asking, so let me do something. So finally he got connected, and he presented his idea. And you know what happened? This idea, when they got presented, after just 5 years, I got an email from one of the investor who was present in that summit, where this boy was struggling to get access to present. He writes, Hiranmay, I stumbled upon this article in Economic Times, and they realized that Ritesh had written to me nearly 5 years ago following an introduction to you in LinkedIn. He might be 21-year-old, and I'm sure he was 16-year-old when he was presenting me. Hats off to you for your talent in spotting the future superstar. I'm talking about the boy called Ritesh Agrawal, who went on to become the founder of Oya. Now, imagine, today is a $7 billion worth of real value. But 10 years before, this young boy of Bargad was struggling to access to a quality investors, quality mentors in a platform right happening in other states. This is what I'm saying is called panga. What do you mean by panga is, even if you don't have research, आपके पास साधन नहीं है, आपके पास mentors नहीं है, आपके पास guides नहीं है, आपके पास coach नहीं है, आपके पास सिर्फ motivation है, बट आपको कहीं ना कहीं कुछ connections की जरूरत है जिसके द्वारा आप अपने ideas को आगे ले सकते हो. So this is a very important lesson I learned, and Ritesh came to me and says कि sir, you know, अगर हम लोग छोटे छोटे आइडियाज को ऐसे सपोर्ट नहीं करेंगे तो कहीं ना कहीं ओडिशा की ऐसे बहुत सारे ब्रिलियंट यंग माइंड्स होंगे. आप सोचिए 11वीं क्लास का लड़का के पास इतना तो कॉन्फिडेंस था कि वो किसी को बोल सके कि साहब मेरे पास 3,000 रुपये नहीं है वहां जाके प्रेजेंट करने के लिए, आप मदद करिए, एंड आई वांट टू रियली बिल्ड दिस आइडिया. What I'm saying is, this might be one story for all of us, but there might be many hundreds and thousands of such kind of young people in the state whom we need to scout. Now the question comes, why I told about mining the minds. There might be many young people like him across all our tens of thousands of schools and dozens of universities. But how do we really scout them and support them? कैसे उनको ढूंढे? And I was talking to this thing to, I'm a part of the national committee in the Ministry of HRD. How do we help young people to build entrepreneurs? And the thing that we discovered is like this. Today, our entire education system is called plantation. कितना पेड़ लगाएंगे, कहाँ लगाएंगे, कितना दूरी पे लगाएंगे, everything is fixed. You know, your study material, your question patterns, everything is so fixed that you hardly get opportunity to innovate within. But what actually probably, if we need to create dozens of more boys and girls like Ritesh, we need not plantation, we need a rainforest model. Chiroharit, typically if I say about in Odia. So how do we really create a system जहाँ पे ये जो आप देख रहे हैं अमेजन फॉरेस्ट में किसने बीज डाला किसी को पता नहीं, किसने खाद डाला किसी को पता नहीं, किसने पानी डाला किसी को पता नहीं. Still that forest, that barren forest creates the longest of the trees of the world. Now in our society, if we really want to create that kind of achievers, if I say anecdotally achievers among the youth, we need to create a non-structured, trust-based, agile and lean support system rather than a very, very sophisticated structured system in which actually, honestly speaking, we kill more ideas and innovation than support in a very, very rudimentary manner. So when we are going to mine the minds of youth in Odisha, we need to ensure that we need to be flexible enough so that they can demonstrate their things. Now, I will tell you a very small story that how this kind of things are happening. During the World War II, there was a department in the Department of Defense in the United States. So they realized that their defense companies are not able to innovate compared to Germany, because Germany was superstar in terms of laser technology, electronics warfare, and everything else. And then they realized that US defense companies are somehow not able to compete. So what they did the same thing which I'm talking, mining the minds of the mass. What was the mass at that time? Youth across the universities in US. So they invited so-called vice chancellor or kulpati or provost of those university into a conference, and the defense secretary told कि I am going to give 450 million US dollar. That was at that time US dollars value. And all of you are going to take this money, throw it out behind the ideas of young people across your universities and do something which your nation can be proud of. They gave, MIT got $117 million, Caltech got $83 million, Harvard and Columbia got $30 million. एंड स्टैनफोर्ड की प्रोवोस्ट को बुलाया, बोले आप लोग तो कुछ कर नहीं रहे हो, आप लोग को तो हम टीचर ट्रेनिंग का पैसा देंगे, आप लोग इनोवेशन तो नहीं कर सकते, आपको हम $50,000 दे रहे हैं, आप टीचर ट्रेनिंग करिए. You imagine, it was not far away, it was hardly 80 years before, a university like Stanford was considered as minnows, you know. लोग लगता था ये क्या करेंगे, ये क्या इनोवेशन कर सकते हैं, MIT करेगा, Caltech करेगा, Harvard करेगा. And that was the really panga mindset of Stanford, you know. I was talking about dhanda to panga. So they forget the dhanda mindset of running the university. The provost Frederick Tolman came back to the university. उन्होंने आया, सब डीन्स को बुलाया, प्रोफेसर्स को बुलाया, बोले ऐसा तो नहीं चलेगा, हमारी कोई इज्जत ही नहीं है, और हम लोग का इज्जत तभी आएगा जब हम कुछ कर पाएंगे. And he got a sermon to all professors of Stanford. उन्होंने कहा कुछ भी रिसर्च करोगे, किसी ना किसी आदमी की जीवन में कल्याण होना चाहिए, चाहे जमीन पे हो या हवा पे हो. They took a resolution. None of the PhDs should be only PhD in thesis. They should be meaningful to somebody's life. And look at Stanford, what they did in the next 30 years. All of the PhD work of Stanford became a company like Excite, one of the previous search engine before Google. Google was the Stanford's project where Rajiv Motwani was the supervisor of Larry Page and Sergey Brin in 1998. Yahoo, Netscape, HP, Sun Microsystem, Cisco, Logitech, all name about this company, they came out from alumni and the PhD research out of an university which was considered as useless at that point of time to build innovation for defense warfare. Now, this is what I call as Panga mindset. Can the universities in Odisha take up this challenge? हो सकता है कि हमारे पास साधन ना हो, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ना हो, क्वालिटी फैसिलिटीज ना हो, but at that time आज से 80 साल पहले इन यूनिवर्सिटीज की भी हालत वही थी. लेकिन उन्होंने सिर्फ अपना हैंडीकैप्सी को लेकर रोए नहीं, उन्होंने एक सिस्टम बनाया, उन्होंने सोचा कि यही यूथ को लेकर हम कुछ करें. And today that has really changed. Now, how do we do it in Odisha? So we have knowledge institutions, we have world-class universities from that land. We have a very agile civil society. हमारे पास सामाजिक संगठन है, जैसे आज प्रवासी उत्कल समाज के द्वारा हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं, ऐसे civil society organization है. And then we have a very long-standing stable government and also a very important private sector. So knowledge institutions called universities, civil society organizations, government and private sector. All of these need to come together. Then only we can innovate, and probably we can create 1,000 Ritesh or hundreds of Mr. Misra who went on to become the first family while husband and wife creating a $1 billion company hailing from Odisha. So this is a very important thing. Now, one more thing which is important for Odisha. You know, when I say mining, And Sanjeev ji tells up quite often that, if you look at the most of the mines built, where the mine is got dug, poor people work there. मजदूर ही वही इलाका में रहते हैं जहां पे माइंस होती है ना, वहां के लोग मजदूर ही बनते हैं. पैसा कहीं और जगह बनता है, जहां पे स्टील फैक्ट्री बनती है, जहां से प्रोडक्ट एंड सर्विसेज बनते हैं. हमें ये सोचना होगा कि ओडिशा का नॉलेज, ओडिशा का टैलेंट, ओडिशा का टेक्नोलॉजी क्या सिर्फ शुद्ध लाभ के लिए है या शुभ लाभ के लिए है. What do you mean by शुद्ध लाभ? Is शुद्ध लाभ means the person who is behind the business should make money, or the person who is making the idea should make money. But in our culture in Odisha, we prefer Shubh Labh rather than Shuddh Labh. What do you mean by Shubh Labh? The workers make money, the industry make money, the society makes money, and as a civilization, we become more sustainable. So how do we ensure that we move from Shuddh Labh to Shubh Labh is also an important factor. Now I will take just 2 minutes to tell what we did in Gujarat. So one experiment that we did in the last 6 years, we asked the honorable government to give us 200 crore rupees of money. And what we did with this money is very important thing. The first thing that we requested is Honorable Chief Minister of the state and Honorable Ministers of the state will spend 1 hour time every month by inviting the innovators and young entrepreneurs for a lunch and a dinner and interact with them and understand कि क्या हो रहा है, आप लोग क्या कर रहे हो. And we started it 6-7 years before. You can't imagine, today we have 1,700 young startups coming out of the same universities where the university used to blame the youth that they are not job worthy. Now from job worthy to job creator, this is a huge change. Second thing that we did from this 200 crore of grant, we told any young people in any university, come with an idea of 1 page. We will give you 2.5 lakhs rupees to validate that idea. If you can go ahead, we can give you 20 lakhs rupees more. By the way, no collateral, no loan, no return expectations, only on trust. Many people used to tell us, how can you give so much of money just on trust? But that was the experiment that we did. And finally, what we did, we realized that only the toppers are getting gold medals. So we told the university vice chancellor from the government, please introduce gold medals for innovators and startups or entrepreneurs who might not be topper in their class, but they are creating jobs before they graduate, or they are contributing to the economy before they graduate. In the first time, when the toppers used to get gold medal, and also the young people who are taking risk in taking the gold medals, the first time the ice was broken. The way of being successful in academia was sorted down into different parameters. And youth was communicated that you can still be an achiever in the learning of life, not by roting, not by scoring in the exam, but by building something for your motherland. Now we also came forward. We told all our faculty members, you teach very well, you get 7th pay scale incentive, it's very well, but can you please also innovate and also build something of your own? So we changed the regulatory aspect, that how young teachers and young deans also can research and then build products and services like Stanford did. So we did that. And finally, what we did is any university who is getting more job providers, that means university who is creating more innovation, more patents, more trademarks, and more job creators, we give more grants to them. So that was a very, very powerful message that we gave. And in return, what will happen, this is something that we achieved in the last 5 years. 186 university campuses have a formal innovation center in the state of Gujarat. 2,132 teams never took a job in Microsoft and Google. They tried to build own Microsoft and Google in their own land, and they become entrepreneur. By the way, the average age of these young people was hardly 23-year-old. So they are not very experienced people, but still they build it out. 1122 patents got filed from these young people, जिन लोगों को हमारे समाज में लोग कहते थे ये तो सिर्फ बने दूसरे कंपनी के लिए काम करने के लिए, आज उनकी शोध से 1122 पैटेंट्स प्रोड्यूस हुए. और इंटरेस्टिंगली 1 million youth ने इसमें participate किया. What I'm trying to communicate is all this could happen with a small change in system, small incentive from government, and a bunch of young people like all of us who try to do these things. Now, every of these things is possible. Let me tell you a secret story here. Around 20% of these beneficiaries came from other than Gujarat, like Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Bihar, and other places, जहाँ पे ऐसी सुविधा नहीं थी. Now imagine if states like Odisha can really build a system like this. 2 lakh rupees an idea is nothing. But you never know, when Ritesh had a challenge of getting 3,821 rupees to access to an investment summit, who later on become a $17 billion company any of these ideas can be missed out. And that is the reason I'm saying when we should be sensitizing all of us to engage in mining the metals in our state, we should be also mining the mines. This is a very, very important subject that I thought that I should share with all of you, and collectively we can take it further, and anything that we can do collectively to help, I'll be more than happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sri Mahanta, Sri Hiranmaya Mahanta, for conveying insights and thoughts on how to mining the minds of mass youth. The statistics shows various youths of Odisha on the startups, how to change the Panga mindset. Odisha is a knowledge bank, rich culture, huge scope to create a startup entrepreneur. Thank you, Mr. Mahanta.
Now I request Sri Professor Satyabhushan Das. Professor Satyabhushan Das. He is our Vice President. He is the Chair Professor BPCL and Chairman of CCME of IIM Lucknow, Noida campus. Professor Satyabhushan Das.
Hello, good evening. Good evening to all of you. You is not starting.
Professor Das.
I think you are mute.
Professor Das, you are mute.
There is some problem in the video. Is not. Can you hear me?
No. Actually, it is not proper. It is very thin sound. Professor, please tell something.
Hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Professor, can I take the questions now? You will be the last then. Now we can go for the. You are coming now. Hello.
I think he has signal issues, network issues.
Yeah, right. So now I request Sri Sushanta Mahapatra. He is our treasurer, and he will take the questions now. If you have any question, you can raise, please.
Thank you, Surya Bhai. I think Professor Satyabhushan Das is online now.
Online. Can you hear me?
No, it is your voice is not audible. It is very slow.
Okay, there might be internet issue at their end. So, thank you,
So you
Surya
can
Bhai.
carry on.
Yeah.
You carry on.
So, all the guests who are listening to both the who has listened to both the speakers, we request them, if there is any question they can ask. I am putting one question from my end first to Sanjeev Parjoshi sir, and then I will ask others also to put their questions. Sanjeev sir, I have a question that you told, I think you have covered one point, that diversity of cultivation. Sir, on that, especially in Odisha, there is a lot of settlement issues in land, especially from the background, from the area I am coming, Jajpur district. So there, I am having approximately 7 to 8 acre land. Since last 20 years, we are trying to settlement all the lands, and Chakkabandi, which we are talking about, Chakkabandi, as there is no such scope from no such move from government of Odisha. That's why my lands are in different places. So in that case, what can we, how we can come out of that? If there is any idea, please suggest, sir.
Actually, the Chakbandi is called land consolidation. That's
Right.
actually government promoted scheme because the scattered land is no productive. Because of half acre, quarter acre, they said that we should consolidate it, then there will be some scale economy. The purpose is basically to develop a scale economy in the available land. But you know, the land consolidation, what happened? Always there is debate of the quality of land. When you do that, suppose you have another partner, the debate among the quality, like your land is better or my land is inferior, that issue is there. Secondly, another issue is coming, land value. Because land value is very dynamic. Just proximate to road is much higher. Even 1 kilometer inside is much lower value. These are all practical issues happening. That's why the land consolidation became really a non-starter, because we can't reconcile these aspects. And nowadays government doesn't want to put a fiat, just capture land and do reconciliation. They said you negotiate among each other. Even this is why to talk about among the non-relatives, among the brothers, this is a problem now. I have seen all the villages I have seen, because I was in Joint Secretary Panchayat Raj. We are trying to look into the rural area. See, brother dispute is there. Which land to take and which land to give to other brother. That is so there.
Right.
Partition problem is there. But I have a solution. Those who have a problem in their families, especially now all brothers are very educated. Because I am doing for my own family, you do register a company. And in that, all brothers to be and brothers children will be board of members and board of directors, and transfer all the land to company and run it as a company only. So in that, gradually, instead of partitioning and fragmenting land, is no point in, but company formation, you can do that. That's possible among the Company Act also. You form a company, and all brothers, whoever the sister also, now you have to give the sister land also, because the property equal share property after 2005. That's a mandatory, and Supreme Court said before also sisters have all claimed, especially ancestral property. So form a company, transfer all land to company, and it will be one together, and company dividend can they share the profit. It will not be a public limited, it can totally private ownership, because the few brothers and sisters will be there and their children may join later on. That is a very good solution I find. Because instead of quarreling each other and all, saying that quarrel also will reduce. Because whatever the income out of land or whatever assets you are having, that will be equally distributed, because it will be proper accounted, properly systematically known to everybody also. So there the dispute will reduce. And I think some of our joint family, they used to do that, but not a very formal way. They were doing informally. Now we should do formally, because informally again the disputes come and the whole collapses. Let us do it formally. I think that will be a very good solution. I think perhaps you understood what I meant, and that we can try to promote. So that instead of going for land consolidation, regions are very difficult to approach that problem in a very difficult way.
Do you hear me? Am I audible?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sanjeev,
Am I
sir.
audible now?
Thank you.
There is a question you are saying, Susan, why our mindset in our state towards entrepreneurship is lacking in terms of providing enabling ecosystem. It's just a showcase with less output and opportunities of the platform. People go other state to get such platform and ecosystem. Mr. Hiranmaya, this question is for you actually. Dr. Vijay Kumar Sahu, he is a professor in Lucknow University, I think. He has put this question.
Thank you. Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Hiran, my reply, I'll also attempt to reply.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Answer, yeah.
Sir, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I can the perfect one, but एक चीज जो इसमें है कि I think the problem is not only Odisha. Globally, people have migrated where platforms are better. For example, among all 51 states in US, there is only one state in San Francisco which has a Silicon Valley. So if you create talent pool, if you create support system within other states, also migration is possible. So migration is not bad in that sense. But the issue is, if we can harness the youth at our own back end by creating a little bit of support system, retaining them and creating value, that can only be possible if we can show some trust in the societal structure. The first one is, as a society, are we appreciating people to take risk? And if so, are we celebrating that? So for example, even in Gujarat, our game was not easy. People believe that it's a very business state, but it was not easy 6-7 years before, What we did is we started celebrating everybody in the university system who was taking risk. So our Honorable Education Minister used to host a lunch meeting with all the young people who told कि job नहीं चाहिए, हम कुछ खुद करना चाहते हैं. और Honorable CM used to host them every 2 months. कि आप घर पे आ जाइए, मैं समझना चाहता हूँ कि आप लोग क्या करना चाहते हैं. So I think if we can become a little bit compassionate society, start celebrating them, giving them due acknowledgement, and break the inertia of achievement of a successful persona in a society in a particular stereo pattern, I think that becomes a very important thing. And I must say that out of all 4,000 startups that has come out from Odisha, most of them are as equally brilliant as anybody. Only thing is, if we cannot create a support system in terms of investment, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of talent supply to them, probably they have to migrate it out, because then only they can leverage it. So it's not complex, but to build it, we need at least a 5-10 year longer plan with a shorter milestone, so that we can do it out. It is absolutely possible. We have done it in other states, and it is possible.
Now, I think really very nice answer by Hirmay, but I'll attempt in a very different way. Two aspects. One is the risk aversion. For us, in management language and economics also, risk aversion is quite high among the Odia community. Another is a cultural aversion also. I'll just give an example. Marriage market. Anybody, any girl marriageable in our family, sister or daughter, what son-in-law we look for? We look for a service holder, a salaried employee. We never look for a industrial or entrepreneurship. In Odia, all of us know, and we have also got into that trap. All of us. That's called a marriage market test. So when we don't have that cultural problem or a solution, like in Marwadi community, I know many of our Parmadi communities are there in Odisha and outside also. They never go for a service holder. They said that their daughter will not be able to manage with the low income of salary holder. They said the business man should be the son-in-law. So that cultural aversion also there, and obviously gradually we are migrating, but not very big way. And thirdly, now the financial knowledge among the Odia people is not much, because any business finance is a must. Whatever the other entrepreneur skill, all those things, how to tap, like the venture capital, all those things, angel that investment, all those things. Odia somehow are not able to tap on that, except maybe, but he's also ultimately Marwadi, that OYO chairman. But many Odia youth are not able to tap that. That's one of, we have to teach them how to do this thing. This is a very large potential, rather than going for small mortgage loans and all those things. That will not work in now present day business, startup or various things. The three factors are that one of the risk aversion is there. Obviously, we have to be slightly risk oriented, because business is risk, no doubt. And obviously the cultural aversion I told about the marriage market. And third is the tapping the venture capital and angel capital. Angel investment.
Absolutely, sir. I mean, we could not agree more with you. I mean, this is the real issue, and we can really solve it out. And I think it is possible.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
You hear me?
I always say about this, and Sanjeev bhai take up that. See, the samosa business cannot get a marriage girl.
Am I
Girl
audible?
first.
Am I audible now?
He is a crore. He is earning crore, but he cannot get a good marriage proposal. That's true. And any more question, Sushant?
Am I audible?
Professor Satyabhushan, just after questions, answers, session.
I know. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible. You are well
Okay.
audible.
Okay, so I have only one or two. Can I add that thing, one or two things, whatever the discussion has been taken place?
Professor, question answer after question answer.
Okay.
Sushant, any more question?
Good evening, everybody. I have a question for Mr. Mahanta. Do you have any pre-qualification or prerequisite qualification for the startups?
No, sir. I mean, if you ask me, in the state of Gujarat, anybody and everybody is allowed, even if they are school dropouts. We don't differentiate that knowledge as a formal knowledge as a basic attribute for considering it, even from informal sector, even from formal sector. We don't differentiate at all. Only one precursor while we decide is there should be a degree of novelty, or there should be a degree of innovativeness. It should not be a traditional trade and kind of thing. There should be something newness, and you should be solving a problem of society or market. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I am Srinivas Tusti. I have one question to Mr. Mahanta. The thing is that once this in Gujarat, the average general public is more inclined towards business. The family is oriented towards business, and the mindset is towards business since since birth, by birth. But in Odisha, I think we need some types of motivation among younger generation, which will distract them towards running after a job and going for startups. So, what you think should have been done in the school and college level in Odisha environment?
Sir, this is a brilliant question. Honestly speaking, sir, as I told, जैसे हमको लगता है ओडिशा में सर्विस इकोनॉमी से एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इकोनॉमी में कैसे जाएं, गुजरात और बाकी राज्यों में भी जो एंटरप्रेन्योरल इकोनॉमी है वो एक्चुअली ट्रेडिशनल ट्रेडिंग इकोनॉमी था, वो भी टेक्नोलॉजी लेड बिजनेस नहीं था. इफ यू लुक एट द सो कॉल्ड बैंगलोर इकोसिस्टम और सिलिकॉन वैली इकोसिस्टम का जो डेफिनेशन है आज की तारीख में, वो टेक्नोलॉजी लेड इकोनॉमी है. गुजरात में भी वो टेक्नोलॉजी लेड नहीं था, वो भी ट्रेडिंग लेड था. तो गुजरात का भी जो जर्नी है उड़ीसा जैसा ही है, ओनली थिंग इज की दिशा अलग है. हम सर्विस से एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में जा रहे हैं, ये ट्रेडिंग से टेक्नोलॉजी में जा रहे हैं. बट एक डिफरेंशिएटर यहाँ पे ये था, हम लोगों ने जब पहली बार हमें कुछ सक्सेस स्टोरीज मिले स्कूल्स में और कॉलेज में, we went full house to celebrate that. The local Doordarshan, the local newspapers, for example, the state government sponsored the page 3 advertisements of young achievers in a publicly funded manner in mainstream newspapers to celebrate them. Now, if a state is putting resources to celebrate creativity of young people from the school and college, it gives a very strong message to parents, teachers, everybody else. So we decided in the beginning that let us celebrate anybody and everybody who is not a commonly taking path human being. So anybody who was trying to do different, we celebrated at the college level, school level, university level, and the society level. I think that made the difference. Even if in our state, Odisha, if we can start celebrating at the district level or in the city level through civil society organization and then in turn government, I think that trust is an important factor. Money can flow. Today, there is more money to invest than anybody can take in the market. But how do you find out people who can take that money and create that trust gap? So I think we should start celebrating them. For example, a very small intervention I will tell you, 15 August and 26 January, ଯେତେବେଳେ ପତାକା ଉତ୍ତୋଳନ ହୁଏ, this time we took help of government. We invited the innovators and young entrepreneurs of that region to do the flag hosting. And that became a very, very strong motivation for all the students that if I can make something next year, I will salute their place. So the aspiration value, which are low cost, low looking, but highly penetrative in the mindset, those are very important things that you can try.
That I have seen when I was deputy registrar in NIT Rourkela. Professor Sunil Chadangi was director at that time. He had a very different culture. He always invited some or other brilliant entrepreneurs as chief guest in the convocations.
Absolutely.
But I have not seen that in any other university I worked. That was only I have seen there. So I feel in some of the universities and institutions where the convocation is the most attractive event for students. In those events, in Odia businessmen like Subrut Bagchi was invited once to NIT Rourkela as a chief guest in the convocation. So we all know who is Subrut Bagchi. So that type of things should start in all the universities and institutions in Odisha.
And just to add you, sir, if I may, in Gujarat, we have a resolution in the Department of Education. Before any convocation of any of our 91 universities, before the convocation ceremony process starts, the university is supposed to demonstrate in an exhibition of all the innovators and startups from the graduating batch. The chief guest of the convocation visits the students who are job creator first and then go and bless the people who are job seekers. So we are trying to reverse the culture, and it has become a norm now in the university system with blessings of Chancellor, who is the governor of Gujarat. So that has really changed the perception of all the stakeholders into the game.
I fully agree with Mr. Hiranmaya. Actually, my mindset is only looking for that. Even this time, the POVS annual program, we look forward for a entrepreneur to be awarded. The Odia entrepreneur who may be in Odisha or beyond Odisha, a young entrepreneur, a stand-up or a startup who have already stand up, like that. And we are also working on that. Mr. Professor Satya Das, he is now thinking, doing the work on what are the challenges for the entrepreneurs, the young entrepreneurs, the successful entrepreneurs, or the people who those are in between. So uh, we can make through it. If you are thinking today that the entrepreneurs should be developed in Odisha, that should be come from today, so that after 10 years or beyond, we'll see the people will not be a job seeker, but a wealth creator or a job provider who will uh, mane, take the country, take the state, take the nation ahead. Like previously you said, we are the great state, the business state. We have the business relationship, trading relationship all over the world. So we have to bring back that pride. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, Sushant?
I have one more question, Surya Bhai,
Okay.
for Mr. Mohanto. Can you tell something like something which I am not supposed to ask you? What is the success rate and failure rate of these startups? Can you have something? Suppose it is a
Yes, sir.
dynamic kind of question, you can say.
Sir,
And we have
because
international. Just can it be global or
yeah,
domestic?
absolutely, absolutely. Sir, globally, if you look at the global academic study, it is not more than 2 out of 10. So 20% is the upper limit, you can say, in terms of mature companies. But because we deal with very early idea stage and young people in the early stage of the venture, our success rate has been something between 30 to 40%, which is academic while research wise, it is quite decent. But one interesting thing I should say, sir, is इन आवर एक्सपेरिमेंट जो हमारे एक्सपेरिमेंट में जो पार्टिसिपेशन करने वाले जो लोग थे ये एवरेज 21 साल से 30 साल के बीच की जो युवा थी वो थी एंड नाउ वन इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग दैट वी सॉ इज you might fail when you are doing the first venture in 21, you might fail when you are doing the second venture in 25, but on an average when they attempt third and fourth they become hugely successful. So cumulatively we should not detach the first and second failure from ultimate success. So what we did, one interesting thing in the policy in the state of Gujarat is, even if you have failed once and you come with a new business plan, we give you money, not because you have a track record of failing, but because you have an experience of knowing how to fail. So this is a very interesting thing that you have done. But our rate has been something between 30% and above because we are in the early stage.
Great. Thank you.
Great. Is there any further questions from anyone?
I have one small. I like to compliment. I am Dr. BK Sahu from NRDC.
Okay.
energy
Face, please. Vijay Babu, your face.
बहुत energy लगाता.
Actually, I am traveling, so I have.
Okay, no issue.
My small submission before you is that we have ecosystem. The way, because I am part of Gujarat ecosystem created by Hiranmay.
और है जाओ तो ले जाओ.
So
बाबू और
my
चाहिए? Wait, टुका.
Who is there?
Please mute.
Please
this is
mute.
such a platform.
All
where we-
others who are not speaking, please mute yourself.
Thank you. My small submission, because many of our Odia people are working in various ecosystem of the government, multilateral organization, bilateral organization. One small submission before you is that how we can create a enabling ecosystem, because I basically from Kalahandi, and many of my young chap who left the job at Bangalore and came to Kalahandi and looking for some kind of alternative opportunity. Being a Odia, being a Kalahandia, normally I feel bad that we are not able to provide a appropriate institutional support. So how we can make the difference, that is very, very important individually, because we can't change the attitude of our people and bureaucracy in our ecosystem, what we are going through. So because startup entrepreneurship is become a showcase now. Everyone talks about, even my daughter who is 10-year-old girl, she is talking about startup entrepreneurship. But it must not be a showcase. We must have to create impact, create value. And let me also tell you, in the recent time, Kalahandi, mo gaare amo boghicha achi. गोटे पिला आमे आंब बिकी पारुनु किंतु गोटे पिलाटे आसिला कि से मैंगो रे केमिति प्रोसेसिंग प्लांट करिवो and today he is going to manufacture mango powder. So around 50 people are getting job, getting opportunity. So that is, this small effort make the difference, and we can create the difference. And I think this is the best platform because Hiranmaya, Dr. Padjoshi, these are the people who are whom I know and also connected with their ecosystem. We can make the difference, and certainly I am grateful that I got opportunity. And any kind of support, seed funding, equity funding, IP support, market survey, all IPR free of cost will be provided by my office. That is a mandate from Government of India. And all technology, any startup are looking for any technology can also take, and we transfer many technology across the country. Many of the innovative technology in the particularly in the climate change technology also. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and looking forward to do our best. Thank you. God bless you. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I request Professor Satyabhushan Das for a valedictory address. Professor Satyabhushan.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Good evening. Actually, I have been listening very carefully to speakers, Mr. Hiranmaya. So actually, a lot of good points has been discussed today, but I just want to add one or two points. When we were talking about development of Odisha and this entrepreneurship development, the very critical thing. Rich heritage is there, history is there, where Indian Odia people are very history. But now what happens, several days, you can see very seriously, collapse of public education system. Because of this collapse of public education system, more dependency on private education system. Those are from poor background and want to be entrepreneur, they need a good quality education. Second is that our healthcare system. Public healthcare system, there is a collapse, and mostly we are now depending on a private healthcare system. So when we are talking good entrepreneurial mindset, these education, health are very critical. Third is the most critical is agriculture. Our Odisha is basically agrarian economy, and there is a collapse of agricultural system, and there are a lot of entrepreneur ability can be created by on the basis of agriculture. But unfortunately, because of the collapse of agriculture, most of the Odia people who are skilled people, local is vocal, we are talking about that. Local entrepreneurship in Odisha, somehow that has been, those who are traditionally doing those entrepreneurship, they are because of collapse of agricultural system, because there is not proper market linkage. Even if people do a lot of productivity, but market linkage is not there, farmers are not. Because of this distress migration, the skill set, what the real skill set of the people handicapped, he is coming and working in Surat like a laborer. So how this local entrepreneurship can be developed, as Hiranmaji was talking with many good relevant points, how Gujarat government, how they are giving the failed entrepreneurs opportunity to harness their capability. So it is not that if somebody is a traditional entrepreneur, he is failed because of certain reason, it is not getting opportunity. Government should have an important role, handle these entrepreneurs, make a entrepreneurial environment. It is entrepreneur cannot develop on their own. We have to make a cohesive environment. And today we have discussed a lot of things, which like Mr. Sahu was telling, a lot of know-hows are available. But how we can make this available to the people who are developing entrepreneurial mindset, who are teenagers, grassroots level innovation Google was doing. I was doing a study how Jugaad innovation can be done in rural villages. These people are so talented, our Odia people. How in grassroots innovation and make them a proper entrepreneurial ability, how they can develop from teenage, so that these people will not go as a distress migration and spoil their future and Odisha's entrepreneurial ability that cannot be properly reflected. So with this, I don't want to spoil much of the time because we have heard. Maybe we can think of how we can contribute in this way today. Whatever the discussion points will definitely. What can this distress migration can be stopped, and our talent can be local. That we have to think very seriously. With these words, I would like to conclude.
Thank you. Now I request Professor Das. It is very nice. Now I request probably Policy Hawks, our partner, his editor, Mr. Akram Hawk would be there. I request him, please suggest your vote of thanks. I think his technical some issues are there. Mr. Sudhir Barik. Sudhir Barik. Mr. Sudhir Barik.
Yes, yes.
Kindly of the vote of thanks.
Today's event was very successful thanks to the speakers spending their valuable times and given a various insights how the entrepreneurial creation can be done in Odisha, then Panga, how to change the society as a system, mining of the minds and mass. The various insights has given how the Odia people has to be inculcated themselves and create a various good ecosystem for the development of the youth of the Odisha. The scopes are very much insights. Thanks for all these participants, all these learned speakers and everybody for joining and making this program very successful. And this is a very good event today. It has given create a lot of minds and so points where the government of Odisha and government of India has to think of how to develop the Odisha people and mining the minds of the mass of the Odisha youth. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your good support and presence. Thank you.
One more thing, I'm saying, one second. There is a suggestion I got from Duty Krishna Misra. He is a former naval person. He is a senior officer. We have been working in the field of adventure sports and trying to integrate the strength of the tribal children. We're involved in identifying the strength locality-wise and aligned with the relevant sport. For example, Malkanagiri's children are more aligned to swimming, Mayurbhanj are more aligned to football, and Koraput with mountaineering. Looking forward to contribution of higher authorities in this direction. This is the thing I got. Manas Dharanjan Das, would you like to say something? Actually, we are now close.
जय जगन्नाथ सर,
Manas-
नमस्कार सर।
नमस्कार।
मैं उड़ीसा से बोल रहा हूँ। ओडिया में अच्छा इंग्लिश में ज्यादातर ठीक नहीं होगा। मैं बताना चाहता हूँ, मेरा तो ठीक से इंग्लिश नहीं होगा, मैं हिंदी में बोल रहा चाहता हूँ। मैं जो बात बताना चाहता हूँ कि आपने बोला कि ये नेगेटिव बात है, परंतु वो तो प्रैक्टिकल बात बताना चाहता हूँ कि फर्स्ट स्टार्टिंग में आपने जो सर जो बोला बहुत अच्छा तरह से बोला, और जो उड़ीसा का क्रिएटिविटी है, उड़ीसा का यूथ का जो डेवलपमेंट है, वो यूथ का जो क्रिएटिविटी आइडिया है, इसके बारे में बोला। परंतु जो स्टार्ट किया था हमने वो चिलिका के बारे में, कोणार्क के बारे में, और जो माइनिंग का वो जाजपुर का सर जो बोला वो भी बोला ठीक ठाक है। परंतु फर्स्ट ने जो बोला चिलिका के बारे में, मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि आपने सब जानते हैं कि वो जो चिलिका है वो 10,000 ईयर्स का बिफोर का क्रिएटेड है, बे ऑफ बंगाल से कनेक्टेड है, और उसका जो एरिया है 1,100 किलोमीटर स्क्वायर, और वहां पर हम देखते हैं कि वहां पर मोर देन 1,50,000 फिशरमैन आर डिपेंडिंग देयर लाइवलीहुड and 132 villages are dependent there. परंतु अभी हम जो देखते हैं कि जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, डेवलपमेंट है, वो हमारा जो स्वाधीनता के इतने साल 70-75 साल के बाद भी वो डेवलप नहीं हो पाया है, क्योंकि हम फास्टली देखते हैं कि जो एरिया पर वो फिशरमैन फैमिली रहती है।
भाई मानस भाई व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन एक्चुअली?
क्वेश्चन है कि वो लाइवलीहुड के बारे में
लाइवलीहुड
लाइवलीहुड के बारे में बताना चाहता हूँ कि वहां पर जो 1,50,000 फिशरमैन डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द चिलिका लेक, परंतु एक साल में सभी 365 दिन काम नहीं मिलता है, इसीलिए वो 3 महीने 4 महीने वो जो चिलिका का फिशिंग करने के बाद माइग्रेटेड हो जाता है अदर स्टेट को, अदर डिस्ट्रिक्ट को। जैसे बोला कि सर गुजरात बोला कि केरल बोला, चल जा रहा है। इसके बारे में हम जब बोलते हैं कि वो जो इकोनॉमिकल स्ट्रेंथ है सभी लोगों का ठीक ठाक नहीं है, क्योंकि वो ज्यादातर लाइवलीहुड के बारे में ठीक ठाक नहीं है, क्योंकि हम जानते हैं कि उसका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इतना।
मानस भाई क्वेश्चन में नहीं आ रहे हो आप तो आप पूरा बोल रहे हो। प्लीज
मैं पूरा बोल रहा हूँ कि
वन लाइनर, एक लाइन में ना आप एक लाइन में क्वेश्चन करिए।
फिशरमैन 1,50,000 फिशरमैन से वो डिपेंड ऑन द फिशिंग, परंतु उसका जो डेवलपमेंट होना था उसका डेवलपमेंट नहीं हुआ है अभी तक।
राइट, तो ऑलरेडी संजीव भाई
सर 1 मिनट आपने तुलनात्मक के बारे में बोलता है कि गुजरात वो जो अदर स्टेट के बारे में बोलता है, वो जो हमारा जो रिसोर्स है, रिसोर्स को बेसिक करने के बाद ही हम लाइवलीहुड डेवलपमेंट करना चाहिए। हाँ जी, रिसोर्स है
आपका क्वेश्चन
वहाँ पर भी
ठीक है। किसके पास क्वेश्चन, किसके पास है?
हेलो, जो लाइवलीहुड को सर जो लाइवलीहुड बारे में जो बोलते हैं, जो सर वो सर बोलने हैं तो ठीक है।
पहले जो सर बोले तो संजीव सर है, संजीव सर के क्वेश्चन लिया जाए। हाँ संजीव भाई प्लीज।
यस आई डेफिनेटली रेस्पॉन्ड। एक्चुअली द फिशरमैन इशू जो उठाए हैं बहुत अच्छा बात है, लेकिन आई वाज फोकसिंग ऑन क्रिएटिंग ए लोकल डिमांड फॉर देयर फिशरमैन्स प्रोड्यूस। बिकॉज अभी फिशरमैन क्या होता है, दे ब्रिंग द फिश, they don't have local demand, they sell it to some people, middlemen, and they take it to some other places and that's the earning. But वहाँ पे tourism industry, hotel industry, कोई और industry locally होगा, they can sell it there and there, and that is a bigger immediate gain for them. अभी fishermen करते हैं, I have seen lot of coastal area जहाँ पे market दूर है, fishermen more exploited. Local market they know the price. Suppose hotel होगा वहाँ पे, बड़ा 5 star hotel होगा कि और chain of restaurant होगा, when they buy for fishermen they will be able to bargain more. अभी के दूर भेजने में the transport cost is there and middleman takes the benefit and fishermen को ज्यादा फायदा नहीं मिलता है. Rather it's a negative that we think that वहाँ पे tourism develop होगा तो fishermen will be killed. No, the fishermen rights will be protected. There is already a coastal zone regulation scheme is there where fishermen have all the fishing rights. There is no doubt on that. Because जो भी tourism develop होगा it is beyond 500 meter coastal zone regulation बोलते हैं. Beyond 500 meter होगा तो जो एकदम periphery of the Chilika Lake will be domain of the fishermen. There is no doubt. But only it will be maybe sometime a water park or something like will come. But the restaurant hotels will come beyond 500 meter. There is no doubt because वो तो government of India का rule है. So fishermen rights will be more protected. They will get more higher value for their fish produce. Because otherwise दूर में जाने से fishermen really getting less value for their produce. That's like it's already a research one. Nothing my personal or anybody, just a small incident itself. It is one known factor.
Thank you Sanjeev bhai.
Thank you
Hiranmay ji. Thank you all the participants. Actually, I'm seeing the participants from US also, from Australia, and many more countries, all of the throughout the state also, all the country, and it is good that we are in the Sunday night, we are killing time, but it is a nice, actually whatever you told, all these thing will be now suggesting, we'll suggest it to the government of India and the state government. So if you will, Mr. Hiranmay, if you can help us, we'll give you the whole of the transcript, and the summary can be provided by you, so that we'll submit to the respective government. Thank you. Thank you. Jai Jagannath. Namaskar.
Thank
Can
you.
we
Jai
please have
Jagannath.
a group
Namaskar.
snapshot, sir? Can we please have a group snapshot?
Yeah, please.
We can
All are
have,
requested to open
yeah,
their
turn on the
camera.
cameras. Yeah.
सब लोग कैमरा नजर खोल लियो दो.
हाँ.
संजय ठीक है. हाँ हाँ
सब
ठीक
लोग
है.
प्लीज कैमरा ओपन कर लीजिए. हम
ममता आपका बंद है.
शॉट लेंगे.
No, it is closed yet.
It might
Chandanapa,
be-
Not it?
Chandanapa, Sanjeev bhai.
Yes.
Mumta,
On ଅଛି ମୋର on ଅଛି.
सुधीर भाई, संजीव भाई फिर बंद ହେଇଗଲା. मिलो, किसान,
Yes, sir.
Manas Ranjan Das.
चंदनापा पूरी बंद ହେଇଗଲା. डीपी मिश्र,
Advocate Nitin Satija.
नितिन, नितिन फेस ऊपर रखो. ममता फेस, मिल्लू फेस.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you all of you.
Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath.
Thank you.
Join next program. Fantastic program.
Thank you.
Join next time. Thank you.
जगन्नाथ ने बहुत बढ़िया प्रोग्राम है एवढ्या
नमस्कार
प्रोग्राम
सुकुमार सर. नमस्कार संजय भाई.
हाँ नमस्कार सूर्य भाई बहुत बढ़िया प्रोग्राम कल मु शुणुली
नमस्कार अमेय भाई.
बहुत बढ़िया प्रोग्राम कर
मु संजय भाई को देखुचे. थैंक यू.
हाँ नहीं